So it's subsistence agriculture all the way. But if we must feed our people, if we must be food secured, if we must engender food sufficiency, we must mitigate all of this. And that's the essence of government. And that's exactly what we are poised to doing. Okay. So in that direction, chief among what we have done is the Lake Rice Initiative.
Okay, before we get into the Lake Rice Initiative now, I just want to talk about some other issues. You said that so far, from the statistics you gave for cropping, we're doing about 24% here in Lagos or thereabout. No, so how do you mitigate against that? Because Lagosians use must eat, and the bulk of the people in Nigeria, live in Lagos. So how do you get alternative sources of food for people to feed here in Lagos?
Yes, what we have done in that space is to acquire land in all the neighboring states. For instance, in Ogun State, as we talk, we have 500 hectares of land in Egua, towards Ado-Ota local government. In Osun State, we have 84 hectares of land where we're presently doing palm oil plantation and cassava. And we're taking it further with this idea of the Western Nigeria economic integration. Okay. And pivotal to it is the agric aspect of it, which we are driving. Because of the 32, because we have studied the food geography of Lagos and the Southwest, and we discover that rice is our basic staple food. In Lagos, our contribution to that is just 1,500 metric tons per day. And the demand is 609,000 metric tons per day. So the variance is really very high. The variance is high. So we have about 607,500 gap to bridge. Okay. So we have, state government have procured a 32 metric tons per hour rice mill to mitigate that from Bula in Switzerland. It will be delivered maybe by May, June next year. By May, June next year. And the installation, everything, by the end of next year, it must be delivered. Okay. That presupposes that we must prepare for the rice paddy to feed the mill. So we're in that direction, we're collaborating with other southwestern states, to do rice production, massive rice production. We require a 32,000 hectares of land to produce rice that will feed the mill. Okay. So we've moved around the southwestern states, Ogun, Oyo, Osun, Ondo, Ekiti, and we have got commitment of the other states. Okay. To let us have access to land. It's a win-win partnership, which will, of course, engender food security in Lagos State.
And their own states as well. And
the other states, it will boost the economy, the income of the rural folks there. It will also, rub on positively on their GDP. So it's a win-win situation. We are working it out. We are crossing the T's and dotting the I's. Okay. Putting all the bits and pieces together. The farmers that will work on the farm, the land preparation, the land clearing, the inputs, and all that. That we're doing now. And that will address the issue of food insufficiency in Lagos and the Western Nigeria.
Okay. I like what is a welcome development, something that is what we. But I'd like us to be clear about something. It looks like the hectares of land are basically for rice, no other form of...
Not just for rice. Okay. You see, His Excellency, the Governor of Lagos State, Mr. Akin Mambodi, okay, has assigned the Ministry of Agriculture 3 thematic area of focus.
Which are?
1, rice value chain development, okay, which I've just talked about, which has the capacity to generate another 200,000 jobs, 32,000 jobs, direct job, given that one farmer to an hectare. That's 32,000 direct jobs. So the other indirect job stemming from logistics, the cleaner in the mill, the engineers, the driver, the accountants, the personnel that work in the mill, those who will be doing branding and the packaging of the rice, bagging and all sorts, the distributors, the marketers. So it's a lot of job, creation, opportunity for our people. So aside the rice thing, the rice value chain development, we're also been assigned to do red meat value chain development.
Okay.
That will address our, beef needs. In Lagos, we are doing 6,000. We are consuming 6,000 heads of cattle every day, and with every possibility that it will rise from 6,000 to 8,000 by the year 2020. So we must prepare.
Okay.
So what are we doing in that space? Red meat value chain development. We're taking up a purpose-built cattle stock farm in Oyo State.
I'm still rearing cattle in Oyo State.
Yes, I think there's a cattle stock farm in Oyo State at a village called Fashola Village in Oyo State.
Okay.
So we've done the bidding, we've been successful. His Excellency has mandated us to, ensure that we take it up. It requires some rehabilitation, which we will be doing. It's on 1,030 hectares of land. Already in the cattle stock farm, we have bull barn, we have paddock, we have office complex, we have structures, we have we have the boreholes, we have perennial dams. It can only get better with the takeover by Lagos State. So we are going to fix it, and they're going to do cattle fat in their feedlot system, modern system of cattle breeding.
Okay, let's talk.
It's like a ranching kind of.
Okay.
It's in an enclosed environment. It's not about cattle straying here and there. So we're doing cattle fattening there to feed Lagosian.
Okay.
So we're taking that up. That's another job creation opportunity for Lagosians and for people from your state.
All right.
That's the handshake we're having with Oyo State.
That's a good one. Now, it's a
then the third one, I've not talked about
the third one.
The third one is the fruit vegetable value chain development.
Okay.
So we know that we consume a lot of, tomato, pepper in this part of the country. So the idea is, if you have rice, the lake rice, you have the beef.
Yeah, you need to vegetables.
The tomato and pepper to prepare the stew must be on the table too. So that's the idea. That's the idea. So we've been assigned to develop that value chain of agriculture. So part of the land that we're acquiring from all the western Nigerian states are going to be used for fruit vegetable development, i.e. Tomato, pepper, and onion. That's what we're doing. And we're also, proposing to drive it through smart agricultural technology.
Smart agri technology. Now, let's talk about the small, medium-scale enterprises, where you talked about the creation of jobs in all of these other states that you have partnered in. How do the young people get involved in all of this now? You've talked about more hectares of land, talked about the ranching for the cattle and all that. So how do they get involved if they're really very interested in getting to all this? Is this something they can actually come to the Lagos State government and they get to acquire these hectares, or what can they do exactly?
All this land that we're acquiring is not just for the government. If you ask me, what is the business of government in business? So it's for our people. We have those in the Rise, they call it Rise for Job program. Okay. It's a program in the ministry. We have the FADAMA scheme, and we have the Agri-Cares, where we Agri-Youth Empowerment Scheme, where we train and build capacity in our youths. Yes. Majorly for the youths, young graduates and women. So build capacity for 6 months in the classroom, and they go for internship for another 6 months on the farm. So afterwards, they'll be empowered. You know, we're introducing them to the Lagos Employment Trust Fund to Access Fund.
Okay.
That's what Excellency has done to mitigate the challenge of, you know, accessing funds for startups and for those who are trying to expand their business. So we have the Agricares, we have our Agricultural Development Authority, which is our resource office that generates technology and disseminates same to the farm. So expectedly, our youths are going to take up all of this, and we parcel it into plots. All these hectares of we parcel it into plots, and you know, allocate it to willing and intending youths and women. That's what we do with that. And we have also come up with the idea of, you see, some of those things bedeviling food security in Lagos and even in Nigeria is that our farmers are aging. And, you know, a lot of them are largely uneducated. So they can hardly fix it into our plan of regeneration. So that is why we're encouraging our youth, you know, to take up, to build up capacity in agricultural vocations. You know, the era of white-collar job, white-collar job here and there is almost gone. So our people must come up with the idea of entrepreneurial activities, entrepreneurial vocations. So once you come forward to us, we build capacity in you, we train you, and then we'll let you have access to land. All of this land that I've been talking about is not just for the other Western states. Our willing youths will also, you know, take it up and ply their trades on those lands. So it's a perpetual business for them.
All right, it's still Galaxy today, and we're looking at agri-camp development in Lagos, and of course we'll have to spread out to Nigeria. Just to let you know that you can be a part of this discussion if you have a comment or questions to ask the essay on food security. You can do that by sending a message on the number now scrolling on the screen, or interact with us on our social media platforms on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course use the hashtag Galaxy Today. In a moment, when we return after this break, availability of the lake rice this December, you know, because there's been complaints and reports that most times when interested buyers go to this various locations or points to get this rice, they most times don't even get them to buy.
Well, so the idea is we're taking the bold step. And we have taken the bold step. It's a giant stride that we have made in addressing our food needs, and it can only get better, you know, going forward. We have taken the bold step last year, December, through the delivery of lake rice, and what we are doing, you know, to guarantee an all-year-round rice production, such that will be available even in the open market, is that we are baking the sustainability plan as we're talking now. A 2.5 metric tons for our rice mill is already in the mortar. It has some issues that we're fixing so that it can continue to perform optimally. And we have also procured a 32 metric tons for our rice mill from Bula in Switzerland. It's the biggest single rice processing mill in Nigeria as of today, which will require 32,000 hectares of land to do rice production, and which will, like I said, will generate another 200,000 jobs. So if you commence a business, you are bound to have teething problems. That we appreciate. So we're going through the teething, you know, problem era now. We would certainly overcome it with the sustainability plan that we're making. So once the 32 metric tons for our rice mill is delivered, so we'll be processing rice right here in Lagos, which will feed Lagosians and probably the entire Western region. And our ultimate goal is to be a net exporter of rice. So it can be a lot better going forward.
In fact, I was almost coming there that with a whole lot of strength and energy pumped into all this, is this simply for Lagosians' consumption, or this is going to go beyond Lagos borders?
I've just said it.
Okay.
You know, the idea is to
I'm
feed.
not talking about
The idea is to
rice now,
feed
I'm talking about
Lagosians.
the vegetables, the cattle, and every other one you're planning.
Lagos first
Okay.
before others.
Okay.
So, in Lagos State, the population of Lagos is 22 million. It's growing exponentially. We must cater for our people. Once we're able to sort out our own food needs, it permeates to every other places. But our primary concern is to foster food security in Lagos.
Okay, talking about this is a very good thing. I'm already excited about it, but I'm sure a couple of people will be bothered about the cost. Is it something that will be very much affordable for every Lagosian?
Today, we've broken the jinx of the monopoly of rice merchants.
Okay.
Rice, our lake rice is selling for 12,000 per 50 kg,
Okay.
6,000 naira per 25 kg,
100 kg.
and 2,500 per 10 kg. You can't get it anywhere in Nigeria.
Okay.
But because of the intervention of the Lagos State government, led by Mr. Akin Nyambodi, the impact is positive. We have brought down the prices of rice to as low as 13,000 naira from about, well, it was tending towards 30,000 naira last year. Last year, December.
Yes.
But you can go to the open market and get rice for 14,000 naira now.
So competition is
That's
sudden.
that's the cascade effect of our intervention.
Okay, but there are reports of people diverting this rice and not making them available for people who really ordinarily would just go there to buy.
Well, yeah, but we've not gotten any case of diversion. If you have, you can bring up those facts. But so far, we've been monitoring. There has never been any case of somebody diverting it. You go to our, outlets, sales outlets. You get it to buy. It may be a little bit cumbersome, but ultimately, I have told you, by the time we're done with our rice mill, it will be in the open market. Distributors will come, will register with us, and sell in the open market. So the stress of getting to buy lake rice will have been doused.
Okay, so let's look at the health benefits of these foods, from the beef to rice and vegetables. I mean, we know that gradually people are beginning to have this sedentary kind of lifestyle. Lagos is becoming so busy, and you only get to work out probably in the traffic, or where you have to do a long trek when the traffic is too much. What are the health benefits of this? Because I know that doctors would say for you to shed some weight or to live healthy, you have to cut down on your carbohydrates and do a bit of cholesterol and the rest. But with what Lagos is bringing, what are the health benefits of lake rice and every other thing?
And that takes me to the realm of the third pillar of food security.
Okay.
By definition, food security is when all the people have access to safe, sufficient and nutritious food that meets our dietary needs and food preferences in order to have a healthy living. So one of the three fundamentals on which food security is premised: one, food availability, food accessibility, and food utilization. So that's the third realm of the pillar of food security, food utilization, which speaks to food consumption. Then it addresses the issue of awesomeness of food, food handling, how hygienic it is, or of what good is the food to your body. So lake rice, you can attest to the fact, if you have consumed the lake rice, you can attest to the fact of its freshness. It is fresh. It is 100% natural. No additive, no preservative. It is not chemicalized. Our variety is the Faro 44, Faro 52. It is good for consumption. It is good for our health. So, you know, the function, what you consume is a function of what your health becomes. And that's why we're addressing the issue of food from the people-centric point of view. You know that even the usual, we're trying to move away from, to solve even issue of security from the people's angle. As I said, we are tackling even security from the people-centric point of view. The idea of arms and armaments, you know, form of security may be tackled, may be reduced if we address issue bedeviling food security. Well, there's this adage in Yoruba land that says, that is, if you are done with you know, hunger, if you are able to resolve issue around hunger, you have already resolved issue of poverty. Okay. So once you are hunger free, you are able to feed yourself, the issue of pickpocketing and all of that is solved. You know, half of the vices will be stopped. And like I said, what we consume, especially the imported rice, we've discovered that they are carcinogenic. These are things that, you know, that put pressures on our organs. If you go to hospitals everywhere now, see people coming up with issue of kidney problem, you know, liver cirrhosis and all of that. It's a function of the food consumption. Because you cannot track what you are consuming. Those imported food, you can't track it. Many are of poor quality. Many has concentrates residue of chemicals that are not tolerable to the body, but we consume it. And that was what informed, you know, the banning of rice importation through our land borders. Okay. Now you can't bring in rice through our land borders, except it is smuggled. So you can only bring in rice through the seaport now, where they have devices to check the quality of what you are bringing in. So we eat all sorts of junks. So that's why His Excellency the Governor of Lagos State is tackling even security from the people-centric perspective. Okay. So that what we consume is our concern in Lagos State government. It must be wholesome. It must be something that will be good for your health.
All right.
And Lake Rice will give it to it.
Okay, let's talk about another staple that Nigerians readily will eat. You know, that is cassava. I want us to talk about what the Lagos State government is doing as regards that the value chain and all the processing involved in cassava.
Yes, we are doing fairly well in cassava in Lagos. But Oyo State, all over the western region, Oyo State, you know, perform better in that area. What we're doing is essentially is to concentrate on where we have a comparative advantage. Okay. The leafy vegetable, for instance, we're doing well in it. You know, if you go to Yafin in Badagry, in Agbowa, we're doing well in leafy vegetables. The ugu stuff, the spinach, and the ewedu, we're doing pretty well in it. Okay. But even at that, there are still gaps. I think we're doing about, in cassava, we're doing about 1 million metric tons per day. Okay. And demand, you know, production demand is over 10 million.
Wow, the variance about 9 million.
So we still have about 9 million gap to bridge. So that we'll be doing, you know, getting from other southwestern states through this Western Nigeria cultural integration that we're doing.
Then again,
so the value chain that you talk about,
yes.
If you go to Ekwe now, at Araga, we have a plant there, a processing mill, where, you know, somebody, you know, a private concern is taking up
Yes.
to do starch.
Okay.
Okay.
To do starch. So that's part of the value chain of cassava, processing. You can do starch, you can do ethanol, but we're starting with starch. Any moment the machinery are, being installed, any moment from now we'll be doing starch. Aside Gary, to only get better moving forward.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, then again, still talking on your comparative advantage, Lagos is known for its water resources and all of that. Let's talk about fishery. What is the state doing and how well has it done as regards that aspect of agric?
Well, like I said earlier on, I said 1/5 of Lagos is, wetland, is riverine, and that presupposes that we should be doing well in, in the fishery, and its value chain. Yes, we're doing 783 tons of fish, per day, and we required very many more. But what we are doing in that space is to catalyze growth in the fishery value chain, is to assist our, artisanal farmers, fish farmers, with inputs. We did an empowerment program where our artisanal farmers assisted with inputs, fish nets, outboard engine, feeds, and all that. That's speaking practically to fishery value chain development. Again, we've introduced through our policies and program what we call pen and cage culture of fish farming. That's a model of fish farming where fish are bred in their natural habitat. If you go to Agbowa, that's where all that I have said is verifiable. You can see it working. We walk the talk, we don't just talk the talk. So if you go to Agbowa, you will see there. We're doing another one in the Badagry axis. By January, it should be commissioned.
Okay.
So that pen and cage culture model of fish farming is a model where fish are bred in their natural habitat in the lagoon. So it's an empowerment program by the state government, and a lot of beneficiaries are applying their trades. So that's what we're doing. Again, we're encouraging the private sector to key into the opportunity that abounds in the fish value chain development. Because we can do trawling, we can do preservation, we can do storage. These are potentials for investment. That's why we're doing everything possible, to address the ease of doing business. Of course, Lagos contributed about 73% of what led to the improvement of Nigeria in the ease of doing business index. We say that if we're able to sort out those issues bedeviling, ease of doing business, we'll be attracting more and more investors, to our land, and the better for the Lagosians and Nigerians. Because the idea of subsistence farming, we must jettison it. We must migrate to commercial farming, mechanized farming, a system of agriculture where we will have to deploy smart technology to drive agriculture. The era of cutlasses and hoes are gone. We must embrace technology. Aeroponics, hydroponics, greenhouses, drip irrigation, and all that. That is how to go. And that's the future of agriculture in Lagos.
Okay.
All right.
We're engaging what's called a company in Israel now to help us drive this food, fruit vegetable value chain development.
Okay.
Using smart smart technology.
Yeah.
We're talking, we're having talks, so in the fullness of time, we'll be doing all that.
Okay, so we're saying that in 2018, our whole lot is going to be much better than what it is now.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, so sometime last year, I need to get an update on this. The Lagos State government was to build silos for rice storage. How far have you gone with that?
Yes, we are still addressing it. And I just said we're procuring the 32 metric tons per hour rice mill. It comes with a 20,000 metric tons of silos.
Okay.
20,000 metric tons of silos. That will address issue of strategic food reserve. It will also address the issue of storage.
Storage and wastage as well. Yeah. Okay. All right, that's good enough. Okay, fine. In terms of agriculture and helping small-scale people, a lot of farmers are being advised to get into cooperatives and to come together and pool resources. How far has Lagos State government gone as regards helping cooperatives in terms of agri cooperatives specifically?
We're doing a lot in that space. Not quite. On October 6th, we celebrated the World Food Day. We empowered a lot of farmers that in that cluster of cooperatives. We empowered a lot of them, with farm implements, with those in the fishery value chain. We give them smoking clean, we give them nets, we give them collapsible ponds and all that. That's the way to go. Those in the red meat value chain, we assisted the butchers, a cow to 4 people to start their business or to expand their business. Sheep and goat we gave to those the butchers. For those in the crop value chain development, gave seedlings, fertilizers, herbicide, insecticide, farm implements, and all that. We did a lot, to address all of, the challenges, and it can only get better.
Of course, it can only get better. It's still Galaxy Today. We're still expecting your comments and your feedbacks. Remember to use the hashtag Galaxy Today if you're interacting with us through our various social media platforms. And of course, you can always send an SMS if you have a question for the essay here. We'll take yet another quick break. We'll be right back. Stay with us.